committee meeting. Oh, thank you. At 2:03 on Monday, March 31st. I'll do the call to order. Nate Bell,
Yep.
Lilia Roscoe,
Here.
Louise Housen here. Approve agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting?
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes from February 12th, 2025 and March 18th, 2025?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up, I see we have Laurel McDermott on and Karen Burnt. I don't see anything in the packet in terms of correspondence. Do we have any comments from those online on Zoom? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to item 6A, review and finalize 2025 employee handbook. So Lily, at the last meeting we had a week or two ago, we went through the last set of edits and made those changes, and those are the ones that are in red on here. Okay.
Yes.
And then I think you guys should have received an email from Julie explaining the item on page 3
Mm-hmm.
under employee classifications.
Yeah, the highlighted area.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So Nate, I don't know if you have a point of view on that, but it would seem that I think the way that we have it written here is okay, but I don't think we need to change it.
No,
Do either of you think we do? There was a question between 32
Yes.
hours and 30 hours, like why isn't it 31?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
essentially, when she summarized it, 30 hours for benefits get you benefits under the ACA.
Okay.
And but that doesn't apply to us because we have fewer than 50 employees.
Okay.
but I think
So-
in the past, the village has always said we're going to kind of follow the ACA's guidelines on that anyway, even though we're not required to. Just
Right.
for hiring purposes as much as anything.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can revise this policy however we see fit. The reason it reads the way it is because we typically do not hire people that average between 30 and 32,
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not there. Meaning 31. So we can put some language in there that's a little bit more explicit.
Mm-hmm.
If we agree. I personally don't think we need to, but we certainly can.
I'm assuming that, what you're referring to is that most of our staff works more than the 32 hours anyway, right?
Right. And if they're part-time, they work 30.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's part of me that just doesn't like having that gap in there.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me says we should just make it 31 and 32 so there's no gap in there, even understanding that nobody ever falls into that gap. But is it? I don't have particularly strong feelings on it than just not liking having a gap that we're not covering.
Right. Because we have part-time staff that works 30 hours a week only.
Correct.
And
And the
then,
IRS considers full-time between 32 and 40,
Mhm.
which
Okay.
is what we have would have in our employee handbook. So we're really talking about non-benefited part-time people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's an ACA interpretation. We are not bound by that.
So I guess, I think I agree with Nate if we word it as 30, 31. Is that what you're saying, Nate?
Yeah, we just changed the 30 to 31, so then there's no gap between there. I don't
Right.
particularly strong feeling about it, but just why would we leave it in there?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I think what we're saying is in the item 2, non-benefited part-time, an employee who generally scheduled to work less than 31 hours per week throughout the year. Non-benefited part-time employees are only eligible for benefits required by law. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what,
Okay, and I'll make a note on,
Just a sec here.
I think I'll leave the PDF alone, but I can always, annoyed it in some way. Okay. All right, then also on page 3, we included the language unless it is otherwise specified in the handbook. You can see that there, it's in red. And again, Lily, these were things we discussed at the meeting, I don't know, 10 days ago or so.
yeah.
Then if we scroll down to, okay, now we're on page 5.
Mhm.
And Nate, in under sexual harassment, we changed we added gender identity. And then if again you refer to the email we got, it's probably recommended that we eliminate the this is the highlighted section. We eliminate the section that says which the personnel committee determines, right?
Uh-huh.
And then it simply says sexual conduct could be cause for other uninvolved employees who observe it to become uncomfortable, etc. And essentially replace that with, if you're looking at the email, the victim does not have to be the person harassed, but could be anyone affected by the offensive conduct.
Mhm.
And that's EEOC stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys good with that?
Yeah, so we're gonna make the edits that Julie had suggested on that.
Correct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep, I'm good with that.
So basically restructure that 1, 2, 3, 5th bullet down.
Yep.
And again, this will go to the board. We can talk about it, but I think after this discussion, we would make a recommendation to the board. Okay, now we're on page 6.
Mhm.
And this is, some of it is just grammar. Oh, sorry, I'll stop that.
Okay.
So I'm going to keep going unless you guys see something here that isn't making sense. I'm on page 8, adding the word not to number 17.
Okay.
And also on page 8, writing out the word $50 in addition to the numerical.
Mhm.
Okay, and then
And that 50 that was amending it from 20, wasn't it?
yeah, 20, 25, something like that. Yeah. And then item 2 under failure to obey medical orders. Let's see whether it's this was about the village paying for if we require a medical examination, it is at our expense.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And of course we would keep everything confidential.
Confidential, yeah.
Confidential information outside the Village of Sister Bay organization without the written authorization of the village administrator. Yes, it should be written. We talked about that, not verbal. Then the employee must direct the person for asking for the information that they must submit a written request to the village clerk.
Mhm.
So I guess that's would make sense that it would go to Heidi first.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's, next year, year after, whatever. I don't know if that would maybe go to HR. I'm not sure, but right now the village clerk seems fine. Item 8, item 8 on page 10.
Yeah.
So we added Prevea Occupational Health in Sturgeon Bay, because I'm assuming that's our provider for the village.
Mhm.
Well, so what happens if we change providers? And we're gonna have to amend the handbook. Is there a way we can state that generically so that we don't have to?
Well, I think we could probably say, or, the provider of record or something like that, I can ask.
Yeah, I think,
We could change, yeah, we could change providers
Well, I think you could leave that in there and then add or the provider um
or current provider.
or yeah.
yeah, some wording of that sort.
Yeah, because if it's not, yeah, we don't want them to go to purveyor if it isn't who we're contracting.
Right.
Yeah. Or the purveyor currently contracted by by the
Uh-huh.
village.
Yep.
And then it's paid for by the village.
Mhm.
Will be
Mhm.
paid by the village. Okay. All right. Again, on next page, page 11, I can put the same verbiage in there. Testing shall occur at
Mhm.
instead of specific, and we could put purveyor in there, but we can also say or,
Yeah.
whomever the village is contracted. Okay, let's see what else we got. Okay, resignation, retirement, final pay. So I'm on page 15.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't have any issues here. This is exactly what we've done. We just, I think, just added this is what we've done in the past, at least since I've been chair. And I think we just added a little bit more detailed
Mhm.
text, so it was really specific, which I think was needed.
Okay.
Because we did get at one time, uh, information that was generalized and enter into a document that summarizes all that information. That's that's our practice now. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, on page 16, we changed Christmas to December 25th. And then we also added the text who were hired in terms of PTO.
Yeah.
And okay, now I'm on page 17. So under military leave, we added that. Again, a lot of this was just really specific, so there was no kind of made it less vague. Voting leave, we had talked about, they certainly should get paid when they vote, so we talked about that and they have two consecutive hours for voting as long as they let their supervisor know they're going.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, hold on. I'm on page 23. We added sessions to the word training.
Mhm.
Out-of-state travel. Travel outside the state of Wisconsin by employees will only be allowed and any and all related expenses reimbursed if the travel and those expenses have been budgeted and were approved by the respected oversight committee. And then the bulletin boards. Village uses bulletin boards and email notification to inform employees of important developments and legal rights. Bulletin boards and email notifications are used only for the posting of official notices or announcements, and employees must familiarize themselves with the information communicated on that. Ooh, communicated to them. That's a typo. I'll change that.
Okay.
Okay, employment of family members or close friends. I read through that. I think it's okay. It's essentially they can't have direct supervisory relationship with a domestic partner, close friend, or relative.
Okay.
Performance evaluations.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, we got to go through those, not today, but municipal property, it's just a matter of them getting a facility use permit.
Mhm.
Whether they're using village property or one of the village facilities. Open door policy. If the employee or their immediate supervisor cannot resolve the issues that have been reported, and we, by the way, I will talk about the grievance the grievance report because we do have one coming.
Mhm.
So the village will attempt to provide straightforward responses to their questions and comments. If the employee and their immediate supervisor cannot resolve the issues that have been reported, the village administrator, or if applicable, the chair of personnel committee shall be contacted in as timely a manner as possible. So hopefully employee and supervisor work it out. If not, it goes to the village administrator, or if applicable, to the chair of personnel. Outside employment. So again, providing any outside employment by the 1st of May every year, so that's coming up.
Mhm.
Okay, the village may not request the employees access information for their own personal non-village internet accounts. However, may request or require employees to provide their personal email addresses to their immediate supervisor. I'm not sure if that's a regular practice or not, but okay, then on page 30, this is the grievance procedure.
Mhm.
And there is a grievance form. The Wisconsin Towns Organization, of which we are not a member, has a good grievance form. Julie was going to ask either Gibraltar or Fish Creek, I guess, or Liberty Grove for it. And I think I can also get one from Bailey's. Anyway, thus employees should first discuss any issues concerning the subject covered by their grievance procedure with their immediate supervisor, who shall inform the chair of personnel committee that a grievance has been filed within 3 working days, either by email or verbally. Hold on a second. This is page 30. Okay, we got a note about that. And so it should this should be reworded, who shall inform the village administrator and the chair of personnel committee.
Yeah, I think that our intention was that really the village, or at least how I had intended that is the village administrator gets a grievance.
Mhm.
They're dealing with it, but they're informing the
Just
chair of the
informing,
personnel.
yeah,
Just informing,
personnel committee. Mhm.
yeah, the personnel committee chair is not dealing with it, but it's hey, there's a grievance, so you know
Right.
what's happening, and just say
Yeah.
that, just to keep that.
Yeah, so what's missing here is by the who shall inform the village administrator, who in turn will,
Mhm.
that's what's missing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. I think that's it. There is an acknowledgement that they would sign as soon
Mhm.
as this goes to the board and is approved. I've received a copy of the Village of Sister Bay Employee Handbook that was adopted on the date there.
Mhm.
They sign it and date it. Okay?
Mhm.
So do we want to vote on it as amended? There were 3 things we amended. And then we can pass it on to the village board for approval.
I mean, I'm comfortable with that because the amendments are pretty minimal. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with it as well with the few amendments we just made.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel handbook with the amendments that we just made.
We're calling it the employee handbook. I'm sorry.
We're making a recommendation
Sorry.
to the village
Yeah.
board.
Employee handbook, yes.
Mhm. I'm making,
Yeah, making a recommendation to the board with the amendments that we just made on the employee handbook.
I'll second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so up next is a discussion. I've got to go
Mhm.
back so I know that I'm
Administrative.
saying the same thing. Okay, review administrative assistant job description. Okay,
Mhm.
so Heidi, what Heidi included in here
Mhm.
were here we go. This is the current, they're somewhat dated, but current job descriptions, there's two.
Mhm.
See, one for an administrative assistant, and then if you go to page well, it says 42 in our packet. You'll see assistant to the administrator, deputy village clerk,
Mhm.
treasurer, which is, I think, a more accurate description of Janelle's position.
Mhm.
I don't know, Nate, I think because you work more closely with her, but it's, when I looked at them side by side and I read and reread them a couple different times, for the most part, what I noticed and what I saw was when you look at assistant to administrator, deputy village clerk, the ones that the text that is clearly text that's been updated is was added, where in the other text was identical to the text in the job description for administrative assistant. You know what I mean? So all the text in red
Mhm.
is more updated. And
Yeah.
then I'm on page 42. And
Mhm.
so the with the text in black is essentially the text that's used for the job description for the administrative assistant.
Mhm. Okay.
So, I mean, some of the things I'm seeing in here, I'm not sure about is going down to the part that starts with complies with directives from the village board, the village administrator, the village president, and the plan commission chair. I don't think we should put the village president or the plan commission chair. I mean, like I don't, I think that causes conflict. I think that you're taking it from the village board because as I've become very aware in the last 2 years, the village president doesn't have all that much power and is except in time of emergency
Mhm.
is
Well, and if you, I mean, it's clear here in the beginning that says complies with the directives from the village board. We know that the village president and plan commission chair are part
yes.
The board,
of the
correct.
board anyway, right? So it's kind of redundant, I guess, to Nate's
Yeah.
point.
I think it's even murkier because then people say,
Yeah.
okay, well, you have to listen to these two people. They're, they have more sway and
Mm-hmm.
they should not
Right.
over employees. I mean, it's especially an assistant to the administrator.
Yeah.
I would agree. I think that when we start the search, that at least I think that we don't necessarily get into the weeds on the, in the post, I mean, on a full job description like this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least typically you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But as in the email that we received, we do want to think about, what the job would be,
Mhm.
because just because that's the way that it's organized now, just because it's, it organically rolled out that way, right?
Mhm.
So I honestly think before we do anything, we should talk with Heidi and we should talk with Janelle. I mean, we should talk and also Vlad and Kara actually
Mhm.
about, if they had it, if this is your village and you just started this village and you have to create an administration office. I'm not suggesting that anybody's removed at all. I'm not at all. But what I'm saying is like, is how would you allocate the workload? Who would do what? Uh, so because they know way better than me, and I think you guys too.
Mhm.
First of all, what they're actually doing. I mean, I know we know what they're doing, but what are they doing?
We're
We know
doing it on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute basis that.
absolutely not. And what we know and we talk about a lot is they're doing a lot, they're doing too much, they're overworked, et cetera. So we have an opportunity, I think, to try to listen to them, get input from them about a better way, a more efficient way. How could we do it that would ultimately be able to help them? Is there a better process? Are there processes that we could improve with automation? I understand that there's an expense. I get that. And I know the budget's put to bed and we can't spend any money, but we still need to see where the pain points are and decide, could we do it better and how could we do it? And all four of those women and Carla, brand spanking new, I think would be an enormous, they're
Or of those
great
people,
asset.
people,
I'm sorry.
people.
Yeah.
I don't think the gender matters on that case. And also, we should not exclude Vlad in that.
Well, I know, I said, I'm sorry, everybody. I mean, they're
Yes.
our greatest asset. And they know, and they're really good. So, and I'm certain they, at some point, like all of us during the day, think, boy, I wish we could do it this way. Or boy, I wish that there's a better way to do this. Or boy, I think this would work better. So we have an opportunity to be able to take advantage of that.
I also think that gathering this information, we should also ask, is there something we need to do in the interim? Because I gather there are some ability, I think that Shank has in the past offered temp, not that it's inexpensive, but if that's what we need to do to keep the office running smoothly and
Right.
not burn out, let's ask that question and see. It may, the work we have somebody that's on a temporary basis may be different than the long-term job, just from a practical allocation of work. But I would agree that it's extremely important to get an input from the hands, the boots on the ground there, so to speak.
Yeah. And definitely including, I did look at Carla's resume and certainly deep experience with what she's currently tasked to do. It's possible maybe, with that experience, she could take on a broader role on a short-term basis. I don't know. But we would have to and need to talk to her about that. I think it's I'm a little uncomfortable talking about that in open session. So
Mhm.
think maybe the next thing we should do is, and I don't know, Nate, if you would like to do that, or I could certainly do it, is talk to the team. We need to wait until the election's over. And so that, things have calmed down a bit in particular. Well, both Heidi and Kara will be doing it. I'm not quite sure to what extent Janelle will be involved. But nonetheless, we wait till that's over with and then see if we can't get, an hour, 2 hours, whatever, with all of them. And whether it's a group setting or I think that's probably a good idea, but a group setting or speaking to them individually.
We've got that meeting. I can try and get down there on Friday. I'll reach out to them.
Well,
I've got to stop down at the office today yet.
Yeah.
Make sure.
Well, Janelle doesn't work Fridays, and I think it's important she be there unless we could ask her to come in, or we could Zoom her in.
I mean, it's practical. I'm just looking at the next date that I can make it work would be Friday. So if we
I
want
got you. Okay.
Oh,
I could certainly do it. I mean, I have a 9 o'clock doctor's appointment that will take about a half hour, but it's in Sister Bay, super easy. Otherwise, I mean, we could do it Monday. Parks is Monday, but otherwise,
well, I mean, you think you could do it on Wednesday?
this coming Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday or Thursday. I mean, I guess Thursday you could do it.
Yeah, I could do it Wednesday. I'd like to attend the, administration building meeting. And I think that just came out.
Is that tomorrow or
It's
2 o'clock on
Wednesday.
Wednesday? I just saw Dick Burst today and he said they were having their first meeting.
Yeah, 2 o'clock on Wednesday. So I would like to attend that, but otherwise I can do Wednesday. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can you do Wednesday, Lily?
I have a meeting with my accountant.
Well, hold on. I mean, like this, one of us should go there and talk to the staff instead of trying to schedule a meeting. Otherwise, we're going to have this be a
I know, I'm just trying to get dates so that we don't go
Okay.
to them and say, okay, let's do it, and then you come back to us and we're not,
Okay,
just
so
pick a couple dates that might work for them.
Wednesday doesn't work for me. I have a meeting with my
Okay.
accountant.
No problem, no
So,
problem.
again, what are we talking about here? One of us going out to reach out to them, or we're gonna schedule another personnel committee meeting? For,
No, I think that if we would have to, if there's at least two of us going, it's a meeting.
that's what I'm getting at. I guess I
Okay.
thought, I thought
Yeah.
you were suggesting that one of us go there, get the input, and then bring it back to the next meeting.
Well, I'm happy to do that. I kind of think I'd like somebody else there that might hear it a little differently than I do. I think it's always good to have another opinion.
Mhm.
However, what we could do is Friday, and I don't think it's fair to ask Janelle to come in on her day off.
I don't think we should do this. I think we should go there, and if you want, can go there on Wednesday, you get your input. I mean, I understand we need a second set of eyes looking at this. I understand what you're saying, Louise, but I don't want to not be transparent about it with the public, but at the same point, I want to create a safe place for the employees to have a discussion instead of making it a publicly noticed meeting. So I think that you should go talk to them on Wednesday, and I can go try and talk to some folks on Friday, perhaps. And then we get back together next week and say, this is what we've heard.
Okay, I don't know if Wednesday's a good idea because it's right after the election. So here's what I would commit to doing. I will go and ask Heidi,
Okay,
maybe starting with her, you
Mhm.
know, which day this week would work for
Okay.
her. And then, you know, and see if she's comfortable having another team member as part of that conversation. If not, then I just talk to her. And
Mhm.
then there, you know, speak to some others, okay?
Yeah.
Lily, do you want to try to do the same or no?
I could stop in. I just have a really tight schedule this week, though.
All right, it'll just be Nate and I for now.
Mhm. If I can, it would have to be Friday
well,
because I have meetings every day after work
Okay.
through Thursday.
Well, as Nate and I just pointed out too,
Mhm.
if two of us go, then it's a meeting.
Then it's a meeting.
We have
Yeah.
to post it and that's fine and we should.
Okay. If I
But
can make
if we
it,
go
then
separately, then it might be
Well-
better and more efficient. Mhm.
okay.
so why don't you'll talk to Heidi and feel it out and see how we
Right.
want to proceed. Okay.
Yeah, happy to do that. Okay.
Okay.
And then the only other thing maybe for the next meeting, not sure when that will be to, I think the contract discussion is still on the table as well as, determining, not determining, but looking and deciding on an updated, review form, evaluation form.
Yeah, the contract meetings did not happen for reasons.
I figured, yeah. All right, so that's still out there. It's okay, we're making progress.
Okay.
And all right, so Nate, I will be back in touch. Well, I'll be back in touch with both of you separately, so there's no,
Mhm.
We'll get it through,
Worries.
send it through Heidi, or send it
Um,
through the office to confirm it.
okay, I'll let you know how that's gonna go, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let me go back to my agenda, which, hold on a second. Okie dokie. All right, let's see that we talked about matters to be placed on a future agenda. Next meeting date is still to be determined. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, you guys have a great day. Have
Have a
fun,
good day.
and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Sounds good.
You bet. Bye-bye.